Almost.
Yeah, I know.
Marcy, we are just on and off space here.
I know, I'm trying to keep stuff over this way. Don't want to be in the way here.
We got lots of room this way if you wanna.
No, I'm fine. I just like to see you.
Over now.
Don't worry, I'll fix there when something lands on the floor over here.
All right, you ready to go?
Don't want to be in the way here. A clear spots over here.
This way if you wanna.
No, I'm fine. I just like to see you.
Over now.
My dog's just learning a trick. I don't know.
You
what
guys
she's-
are ready,
Ready to go.
ready to go, I think.
All right, let's call this meeting to order. All right, do we have any public comments?
Yes, if I might.
Right.
I'm Mike Foster with the Langsburg Lions Club. I'm current president. With me is Terry Greenberg, our past president. And we have a couple of things we'd like to address to the council, all positive. So relax. No complaints from us. Actually, what we have are some certificates of appreciation for the support from the city and its departments during our recent springtime festival. And the festival this year, which is, I'm sure you can figure, is our largest fundraiser for the year, largest single event. And we had a great one this year, had a great turnout, great response, and great cooperation from the city. We're very thankful. I have here a certificate of appreciation awarded to the Langsburg Police Department. Chief, in appreciation of your involvement and contribution to the 40th Annual Springtime Festival. Thank you, Chief.
We have a, you want to hold your applause to the end.
Four is a bunch. We also have one for Langsburg LSW Emergency Services. Yeah. Thank you. And we have one for the city of Langsburg in appreciation. I won't repeat what I read, but
Thank you.
they're all the same, but it is a true expression of our appreciation. And certainly our final one, but not our last one, is to the Langsburg yes, the Langsburg DPW. Yeah. Oh, we put them out every year, I know. And thank you for your help. I come from the library, they're not here, so I'll take that to them. I also have a couple of other things we'd like to share with you. First of all, this year is the Langsburg Lions 75th anniversary. We were established in 1948. And we are having a little get together on the 26th, is that correct, Terry? Here at the park.
Of August.
Of August, 26th of August, thank you.
Bay Scout.
Yeah, Bay Scout Park, and we're going to be having free food, and we're going to have a band. And it is specifically for our birthday, and in honor of that birthday, we want to invite all of the first responders in the Shiawassee area to join us and participate, have a good time with us, to show our appreciation for the first responders and the things that they do. We know they're on the line every day, all day, 24/7, and we do appreciate that. We know that's another one of the organizations that helps make our communities great as it is. And lastly, and a little more complicated, is the barn. We have a barn over at Bay Scout Park. And we would like to expand the barn, and we've had a number of conversations, and I know Gail and Jeff have been involved in some of those conversations, but we would like to officially, or I guess, share with you that that's something that we would like to do and enter into discussions with the city, and certainly the DPW be a part of that to help us look at the possibility of expanding the barn that we have there. It has served us well, but we've outgrown it a bit, particularly with some of the things we do. As you well know, we provide handicap ramps for any citizen here that needs a handicap ramp. Those things take up space. We've got a lot of other equipment in there, but the big trailer chicken grill that we use for a lot of events and so on. So at some point, we'll have a conversation with the city. I don't know who specifically wants to take the lead on that.
So Terry's been in here a couple times, right?
Yeah.
Just to,
It's already been approved.
it's already been approved by the city.
So
Right?
we're
Very
good
much
there.
good.
All right, all right.
Okay.
Well,
So-
okay, so let's clarify, right? So
Yes.
the city gave the okay for the Lions Club to expand the facility.
But there are some
Right?
questions that we need answered, I guess. One of those is.
Hang on, let me
property
finish,
size. Oh, sorry.
okay? Yeah. Dave has a list of 6 or 7 things
Mhm.
that we're gonna do for the Lions Club. Move those poles, cut down trees, move the, right?
Yep.
Trash, the
Yep.
dumpsters, right?
Dumpster, yes.
Yeah, things like that, nothing big, right? Well, the next thing we're looking for from the Lions Club, and here's where I mean, is so the city has approved it, hey, you can change our facility, right? Because it's really a city-owned property, right? But we still need to put together the information to get a building.
Mhm.
All right, and that's what we're looking for.
Okay.
And that's not actually through us, that's through Shiawassee County.
Okay.
Okay, I mean, you can come.
And we did approve up to a certain amount of paying for that property or that permit.
To do
too.
Permit, yeah.
So it would be up to us, so to request the permit, or would it be up to you as the property owner?
No, good question. What would it be, okay, so it'd be up to you guys to provide the information. We can figure out the
We'll
tactical, who does
Work
what.
with Dave, you wanna,
Work with Dave, yeah,
you work with
Yep,
Dave?
yep.
Okay, all right.
Yep.
And then, don't forget, we were also looking with, trying to work with Black Electric to
Mhm.
see if the electrical needed to be updated.
Yep. Yep.
Okay. We do have all the supplies already for the water line, Dave, for that corner. That's already been taken care of. We got that approved through Leonard Hardware. So all the supplies are over there, other than connections and that. So piping, the hydrant, that's all taken care of by the Lions Club, okay? I don't know if I had ever brought that back to you yet.
I don't,
Anyways, the big thing now is electrical. So,
So he brought the list and there were certain things that were city and it went through the city council and has been approved that list of what we were.
I apologize for the,
Yeah.
no,
That's
Miss-
okay.
no, that's fine, yeah.
and I was talking with Jim Conklin because he's been prep the area. We are on the docket for February, in February. Whatever, the builder, that's gonna do the addition. They will be here in February, so just to let you know, it is on their docket, their calendar to construct that addition.
So he's probably the guy who needs to get the building.
So, and I can work through Jim and Dave, to do all that, not a problem. Okay, and then we
Yep.
just,
Perfect.
I'm not sure if there was any, I'm sorry, I didn't mean
no,
that.
don't, Terry, you got all the information.
But our next thing, Mike and I are gonna work with Bach, and then we'll come back to you once we know for sure. How we can help out there with electric.
And then you were, I'm sorry.
No, I'm all set.
Okay.
All right, thank you very much.
Perfect, yep.
Sorry.
Well, and I'm just here to answer any questions on item number 3 on the agenda, if you have any for me.
Okay. Did we get there?
We forgot something tonight.
We did,
We did.
yeah, all right,
We can stand up.
yeah.
Me?
Yeah,
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And I'll be able to sleep now tonight.
Yes, right. All right, any other public comments?
Yeah, right. Very much.
All right, can I get a motion to approve the minutes from the July 10th city council meeting?
I make a motion.
I'll second that.
Any discussions? Thanks, guys.
Guys,
Thank you.
thanks for the appreciation that you brought.
Who's Counselor Craig Miller?
What happened?
RJ was noticing that, not just a pledge of allegiance on last month's minutes. It
Oh,
says Counselor Craig Miller led the pledge of allegiance. It happens.
That's funny. We can fix that. I didn't catch that at all.
all right, anything else? We have a motion. All right, all in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say aye. Okay, the minutes from the July 10th. 2003 meeting have been approved. Can we get a motion to approve the treasury report?
Make a motion.
And second.
Any discussion, any questions, anything that we can answer? Maybe they can't be answered. All right. All in favor of approving the treasury report, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say aye. Okay. Treasurer's report has been approved.
You're ready for the.
Oh, okay.
I see you're on there.
All right, so one of the things we've been working through is the changes to the cannabis ordinances and working through that. Paula had a plan for the next several months. Get it where we wanted to go, so. This is just gonna be step one of it. Connie, you're online. Anything you wanna talk about and bring up as we move through this?
Absolutely. Thanks, guys, for having me. I appreciate the Zoom opportunity. I did submit a memo into you all on June 28th with a recommendation. The first one was to update and combine the existing medical and adult use police powers ordinance into one proposed management ordinance for better administration and management. The second recommendation I provided was to combine the medical and adult use application into one application set, as you have an existing licensee, so it's renewal and we can easily adjust through those timeframes. And then the third recommendation that I sent on June 28th was the update and combine existing zoning ordinances to reflect the changes outlined in the police powers ordinance. And so I have provided to Paula some drafts of the documentation required for that. But that's my best recommendation as we look at this moratorium, as we look at the voters and what they brought forward to the city last fall. I think that you guys might be the first municipality in the state of Michigan to combine them. So I'm sure that the licensee in the city of Lynchburg is going to be excited about that, because having these duplicate ordinances isn't very helpful. So I just wanted to let you guys know what my recommendations and what drafts I had provided to Paula were.
I provided all of it.
Right, yep. And then we kind of go over the next meeting too.
No, but the new stuff is all on the.
Got it, yeah. The recommendation.
Yep, the actual recommendations are there, so. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
So in a couple places, it talks about the renewal being $3,500. But there's one place where it says,
I caught that, we'll fix it,
okay,
it's 3,500,
okay, because there's one where it says 5.
yeah.
Okay. And this says, like, because that's when this was done originally.
Yeah, so she just had the,
Basically,
Yeah.
copy.
yep,
What was she making reference to, like, we're the first people to do this, but
most people have 2 ordinances like we did, like, or we do, we have a medical one and a recreational.
but we're the first ones to combine them.
That's what she thinks.
I'm pretty positive you are the first one.
All right, so I'm gonna ask. Maybe a silly question, does that open us up to legal?
It does not. The only thing that it does is make you stand out as a municipality that honors business development as your first step. All we did was have to remove the licenses that you guys already expressed you didn't want, processors, safety facilities, yada, yada. All we had to do was add the word facility and establishment, and that's all it required. There was not a lot of changes. It was simply removing language of licenses that you guys had already said you weren't interested in having. And so the only license listed in there is one retail and medical provisioning license. So it was more just a matter of making sure we kept the MMFLA, which is the medical law, and the MRTMA, which is the adult use law, the terms all within your ordinance and anything that's outlining them, as well as making sure that anywhere it said a facility, which is under the medical, and an establishment, which is under MRTMA, were an and or. And so I searched on a control F multiple times. I'm sure that Paula did too. And all we did was eliminate language of those licenses that you've already expressed you don't intend to accept applications for or renew applications for. And the only license that's listed in there by both policing power and zoning ordinance, as well as the application itself for renewal or new, is for a one medical provisioning center and one retail establishment. And so all I simply did was remove the language of the things you guys didn't want and make sure to include an and an or, and the definitions are clear.
And it's my understanding, this is review, it's my understanding the medical license are fading away anyways.
They are to some degree. Yeah, basically, why would a cannabis licensee renew two different licenses and pay the states those fees, right? When they could just give the medical discount to those that produce a medical card in retail. And so it actually is saving your local business, which is local to Laingsburg, a substantial amount of money in attorney's fees, consulting fees, compliance fees, filing fees, licensing fees, to just go recreational. If they choose to maintain their medical license, we've made sure to allow that, but a good majority of operators in the retail space just see it as duplicate or triplicate fees to the local, to the state, on both medical and adult use. And if they do have a card and the state maintains that system, which they will, it's on the books under the MMA. If they have a medical card, they simply just give them the discount that is the excise tax. And so it's just a matter of, I guess, I don't want to say semantics, but our goal is to make sure that we're business savvy and we allow people to get through the process without a lot of excessive fees and charges and duplicate and triplicate things. And so this was a way to streamline it for the business operator as well as the staff, because the staff has to process two different application renewals. And that seems kind of silly from my perspective, especially when it's all the same information.
All right, one other question, and hopefully this doesn't end up being a silly question, but it might be. So recommendation 1, recommendation 2, and recommendation 3, those are not, we have to pick one of them there. We should do all 3 of them.
I am strongly encourage you to do all 3. That way we know that the policing ordinance, which basically sets the rules for the business applications and the things that they need for a special land use permit. And then the second was updating the application itself in order to even get a business license with the city of Laingsburg. And then the third was the actual zoning ordinance, which restricted it to commercial.
Okay. Any other questions? I mean,
Doesn't affect anything that you are already currently doing, does it?
No, actually, she spoke to some of the reasons that we don't exercise both licenses.
Right.
It was very expensive, and the amount of people with their medical cards was a very small percentage of our overall business. So we do, like she said, and give a special discount to people who have those cards. But yeah.
okay. So tonight, what do we need? Do we have something we need to approve or just review them or?
Well, so when I look at how this will affect us, I think that, you guys, I think we're gonna have to repeal two ordinances and create a new one. What, is that how you think it should go?
Yes, I do.
So, we have ordinance 01/20 or 01/2019. That's the medical one. And we have 02/2019. That's the commercial one. And what we need is 01/2023 that combines them.
Right.
So I think that we are gonna, and, that is the, like, so that's the police law piece. Okay, so that, it doesn't require public hearing to do that, but it does have to be published in the newspaper. So what I would need is a motion that you want to move forward with repealing those two and replacing it with 01/23, which is, she gave you that tonight, or I gave you that, so, and I have the green one and the pink one, which are our old ones. And it'll all be replaced by this one.
You gave us something tonight or in
It was in the packet,
Okay.
sorry.
Okay, just wanted to make sure I was.
So I think what we would need from you is action that you want to do those things. And then you would, have me follow the rules, which would be to, put it in the newspaper.
I make a motion, so we need a motion, right, for you to go ahead and do that. I'll make a motion.
Second.
Do we want to spell out the motion?
Sure.
We need the motion to repeal, what was it, 2019-01 and 02, and approve 2023-01.
Yep,
With the
basically what,
correction of the one thing.
yeah, basically what we're doing here is combining the, two ordinances that we're repealing into one ordinance.
Yep.
And so, there are a few little like grammatical, like things from switching it from PDF to Word that, you know, I'll fix all those things and I'll fix the 5,000 to 3,500.
And this doesn't affect the moratorium in any way, actually.
The moratorium stays on until we're all done with this. What the last thing we will do is lift the moratorium. Right?
Correct.
So,
What's the difference in spelling? Just a grammatical question here with marijuana with the H versus the J, isn't it?
there was somebody at the state legislature for one's medical and one's recreation.
That's the difference,
Yeah, I'm not too sure about it, but
but both are appropriate spellings and the
yep,
word.
One's a fancier than the other.
Just like every time I see it, it looks like a typo, but then the H doesn't look right to me, I guess.
All right, so we have a motion on the table. We did get a second.
Yes.
Correct? All right, any more discussion on that before we vote?
Can we read the motion?
So when I, got ready for tonight, I got out the charter. So basically it says, subject to, you know, however you want to amend, repeal, or enact an ordinance that, let's see, no ordinance shall be enacted at the meeting it was introduced, nor after or until after publication or a summary thereof, which shall include a statement of its title and purpose. So we can either, like, I mean, I just have a few grammatical changes, nothing major, so we can make those changes, publish it in the newspaper. And then you could approve it next month, or it will automatically go into approval based on, how many ever days it has to be in the paper.
So we can only appeal it or whatever, take it back at this point. You're saying you can't do approve and appeal. And what you just said.
Oh, repeal, you mean?
Yeah.
No, I think that we can do them all. We're gonna repeal two and enact one.
Okay.
So that's the way I read this, and it doesn't say that you have to have a public hearing on, ordinance amendments. But you do on the zoning when we get there, but not on the. But it does have to be published in the newspaper. So basically what this motion would do is tell me to post that we're gonna repeal the two and enact the one, and then, put it in the paper, set an adoption date and get it to Municode, so. That's, I mean, I'll figure out a nicer way to put that motion, but
And then next week, we are taking zoning to planning.
right, I planned on talking about that after we get done with this piece too, just so. that-
Sorry.
No, it's
Sorry,
fine.
Paula.
Don't,
All right, so let's, do we need to take a roll call?
yeah, we should make a roll call.
Roll call vote for this.
Miller,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Craig,
Yes.
Geisler,
Yes.
Geisler.
Yes,
So, while we're still on the cannabis subject, the rest of it is changing the zoning ordinance, which does require a public hearing. So, basically, when I went through, I mean, we updated the definitions, we updated that, you know, you can only have the one, in the commercial C2 district or the C1 district. So we'll take all that stuff to planning commission based on the repeal of this. So the planning commission will be like a few weeks behind because this will be repealed and then they can amend the zoning ordinance. But that will require a public hearing and then back to you guys for approval.
and that's really just changing it from being able to have medical and a commercial to just having the one license.
Yep,
And
yep.
Not
And it
changing zoning or area or.
well, it changes quite a few pages in the ordinance,
Yeah,
So,
but it's,
yeah.
yeah,
so
still gonna be, can't be
Same
within 500
district.
feet of the school.
all that stuff.
All
Yep.
that stuff.
And all those changes will go through the planning commission. We'll send them the recommended changes and she's gonna talk about that with them. She's gonna be at the PC meeting. So,
Okay. All right, anything else on number 3? All right, moving on, 300 Grand River Road parking lot project funding.
Thank you.
Yes, thank
Thanks,
you,
guys.
Connie.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thanks, Roy.
Where's that at exactly? What parking lot's that?
Where the warehouse one.
Right here.
Storage.
Oh, yeah, get threw me for a loop for a minute.
Yeah.
I don't see a parking lot.
Not yet.
It's a project.
Yeah.
we're gonna pay paradise.
Pave paradise, put up a parking lot. That's what we're doing.
Good tune.
Sorry, it's not my meeting. Sorry. I'm so used to.
So. We haven't put it out to bid, so we don't have a number yet,
We
correct?
don't have a number, so if you allow me a minute,
No,
nobody,
that's-
so I came because,
Hang
Is it
on,
ready?
Maggie, hang on. So for those that don't know Maggie Sales is on the school board. So she's kind of working on their committee for that project.
they raised RJ from a pup.
Okay, I didn't know, so,
Change his diapers.
Well, no, I wasn't having any of that. So, I know that, no one was available for the full council meeting, at your previous to just update or ask questions. When the, the drawing was out here and what it was, but we, I did come to the planning commission and answered some questions. And we don't have any final, again, we are thinking it's going to be between $400,000 and $500,000. To put that, make it right and add an additional 40 spaces that we, want to share with the city, along with changing the route our buses take for drop off for our kids at the early childhood center, which will make a huge difference in traffic flow in the morning and afternoon. So, it's very important to us. And Paula had been in touch about some grants that she saw that are available. And I gotta say, Paula, I had done some communicating with the superintendent. And it's been a long week. My mom was in the hospital for 5 days and I just got back and had a 6 o'clock meeting in Owasso, so. But the we want to get this done sooner rather than later, and to have to wait for grant funds, I have no idea. If it's a $500,000 grant, that's amazing, and it would make.
$2.5 million maximum.
Yeah, but then what are we gonna get out of it? You never know, right?
Well,
Sure
what
don't
if-
get anything if you don't ask.
Well, I know that, but the thing is that we would stop at this point and wouldn't you do anything until next year, because you can't ask for a grant, start the project, and then start paying for it, if I'm correct. Grants, you have to wait till you're awarded the money
So
to pursue the project.
how far can we get? Can we put out for RFP and get bids and before the grant is approved, or do we have to
You
wait?
just wouldn't be able to get reimbursed for any. of
You
that.
wouldn't be able to
We
get
wouldn't be able to
reimbursed.
include that in the scope.
Okay.
So, which means maybe we start the paving, one of the things that we have done on our board multiple times, and I don't know all your rules and all your protocol, but the one thing that we've are really trying to do is work through with your processes as well. And one of the things we have often done is approve up to, say, $200,000 for a project to get it started. And then we would come back if it's has to be adjusted. So I think that that's a conversation if you're willing to have, we are certainly willing to have to get started with that. But if it's no, we need to apply for that grant because of the way funding is, then I think that's the next step, is because then we won't even start it till next summer. And we really wanted it done.
So we did talk about it in the financing a little bit. What I know is that he was in the planning and I wasn't,
Mhm.
but my understanding at that time, we were talking 330, 350. 330 to 350.
Yeah, we were talking earlier tonight in our finance meeting, and I was recollecting, and I might have been wrong, but I thought it
Yeah,
was
I think it's
300,000.
about 400. I mean, that's what we're imagining, but as we keep waiting longer, prices of everything is going up. I just threw up a 500 as a precaution. The district is also willing to work with you if you guys know that you have a budget and this is where we are. We'd love 50-50. We'd love you to pay 100%. Okay, I'll just put it out there. But the 50-50, and if that doesn't come to fruition, how do we continue this along as a great partnership along with that financial assistance through it? And again, we've been working through this for 2 years. So to have it held up another year, we'll sit with an ugly piece of property on the corner. And everyone will wonder why the city hasn't done anything with it. Because it's there. But we're hoping to have those bids back. Actually, I don't have a date because I was unable to, in the past 5 days, coordinate any sort of talking points for tonight. And so I'm just talking with what I know and what we presented last time. I will say as well, I'm not a citizen of Langsburg, as I'm a citizen from Victor Township, but being with the school and seeing all that we've been able to accomplish with partnership through the city, through the recyclers, things like that, and what this will do is, I think it's pretty, it's needed and it's a great design.
So we talked about a couple of things. I mean, at the time, I thought the number wasn't 500, but.
No,
I know, I'm just saying, so we'd
I'm
already
very
talked
confident.
We don't know.
minute, and I think what we ended up doing is we did throw around some things, but I felt like the whole council needed to hear and to kind of decide, but. I am open to the idea of putting maybe $150,000 and letting it sit there. And then if it ends up more coming back and rediscussing it, I guess, but at the time I thought the amount was.
300,000 is what I was under the impression of.
I don't know.
So then.
I know I
we
said
have
400. Maybe
how
I
much
said
money into it?
300.
We have some money already into it, obviously.
300,
But-
350 is what you told us.
Okay,
But then-
all right, then let's go with that.
Whether that's right or not.
Right.
And you were open.
Oh, that's right, because we
Yeah.
did have a pre-bid. We had,
Yes,
I'm
yes,
sorry, you
yes,
are
yes,
absolutely
Yes.
correct.
And
Thank
we
you.
weren't taking it if it came back as 400.
Right,
right,
no,
I mean,
I get
that's-
that.
yes,
No,
yes.
we did have
So
some,
that
we had
was-
some
yes.
estimates done. We
Yes.
haven't got the actual prices, so you are absolutely correct.
We also throw around you know, the idea of trying to do a grant and then the safety issue and trying to get the project and,
So,
I mean, I kind of also feel the same thing as we gotta consider the safety aspect of it, I guess, too. And obviously we'd all like it done. We'd like somebody else to pay for it, but are we willing? Yeah, but are we willing to wait?
Well, so how long would it take for a grant? I guess would be the next thing.
October 31st is the one.
We would know October 31st.
Of this,
Is what they're.
of this year, right?
But at that point, it then pushes their project back to next
But-
spring, right? If we would get that.
I haven't read the full grant application for you. So I don't know if we can start the project and
No.
do that perimeter. Okay, that's what I was wondering, like, oh, it's perimeter stuff, it's city beautification, it's safety for the city, I was trying to
Well, you
figure out
just
how
won't
we
get
should
any
do that.
money for that, whatever scope piece is, yeah.
so let's talk about timing real quick, right? So if you haven't put out RFPs,
The
still,
RFP is out.
it's out.
It's
Okay.
out. It was designed last week and is out, and I think Matt had said there's multiple sites that it goes to.
Okay, right, yeah, okay.
What about downtown development authority? I mean, could they maybe jump in on us? Cause it's kind of downtown development type stuff. Is there anything?
They don't want it, it's not gonna make you any money.
Well, it is a parking lot. If
They
they,
didn't start the project. the
I
city
know, but it's hard to come up with some kind of money
did.
too. I don't
Nobody's
know.
asked them for any money.
I didn't know. That's what I was wondering. Just curious.
So how long do you think time wise you really are out? Like, right now, it's, August, and with these other things that need.
Well, it obviously won't be when we wanted it to begin, which was when school started August 24th.
Because I heard fall, but I don't know what
Say
that
that.
means, you know what I'm saying, like, is fall October 31st? I mean, could we start
September.
I mean,
could we start the grant process and see if they,
If you start the grant process and if it gets awarded in a timely fashion, which the state of Michigan is so good at doing.
right?
Well, we know.
I agree, I agree.
First, right?
Well, they have, I mean,
Do
I
they have?
think
a-
we're not gonna, you're not gonna, or, I don't know, I'm not a construction engineer, so I don't know how that works into winter and snow flies in November and everything freezes, then what? No idea. So, I know that it was,
So I think Paul is really great at grants and stuff, and I think there's a lot of opportunity out there, but I just think for this project, I think that maybe a sale, if we want to get it done and.
my
the safety of
recommendation
it.
to,
But that's just my opinion, it's not.
Well,
everyone's
so my
opinion.
question is gonna be, so where's that money gonna come from? Do we have it set aside or where we're taking it out of? I mean, that's a
Your
big chunk of
paycheck.
change.
We got 100.
My paycheck.
And the ARPA.
so we have our ARPA funds that we haven't utilized yet.
How much is it? I mean, how much we have there?
135.
I got 135 and I think we got another 3,000 on top. I think it's like 138 that they gave us, and then we would just take the other money out
It's
of
a-
capital outlay.
halfway to the 300.
Right,
135 is awfully damn close to
Right,
halfway. I
right.
mean, we understand, we certainly understand because the school district, my gosh, I remember when. We had enough money, we couldn't even make payroll. If we didn't get, our state funding every month because it was so bad. I probably had more money in my wallet than we had in but those days are over. And that's why the district really, we want to move on this and we want to get it done. And I will say that, I would go back and recommend to our board, and this is just a recommendation from me, and it would have to be discussed, but that we start moving on it. And see where, we can come into play, because we want to really get it done.
so do you think the numbers that you're hearing are more than you guys expected to hear?
300 to 350, no, not at all.
Okay,
I just had to
But this
be
other
brought
number-
back to today's time in our last meeting, so my apologies
Oh,
again
no,
for
that's fine,
spouting
that's fine.
out.
Yeah.
Because I remember when we first talked about it, we thought 400 to 500, and when it came in at 300 to 350, we were very pleased
Okay.
with that. Very pleased,
All right,
so.
can I ask? What do we think the chances of starting it before November 1st are?
Right now,
The school said, if we said, move forward.
I think we could be pushing dirt within 3 weeks. We could have kids climbing on bulldozers and help push dirt. I'd have to go back and get that
Yeah, I mean-
fully clarified, but,
I'm skeptical, to be honest with you, I'm skeptical.
well, we thought we were moving forward at the beginning of June.
Yeah.
So somehow there was not the proper communications and, which really makes me sad. So, how do we, correct that? So, I mean, it's picking up the phone, calling, hey, Mayor Giesler, or hey, Matt Shasta. And here's where we're at. What do you think? Cause
That's why I came to your city council meeting and said I didn't know if we were gonna make committees or what. Do you remember? Or not?
I do, and we
Okay.
had already had those for 2 years, Gail.
I know, well, I've been to some of them before that, but
Okay.
I'm just saying, I do feel like the communication, it is tough. It is tough. Yeah,
It's 2 blocks away. So that's where the administrative office is. It's 2 blocks away. So that's what I had. I don't know if you had any other questions on what the design was, but
I
it
do
was
have
really
to
good.
say this.
oh, yeah.
We've been waiting for 2 months for numbers. We've been given the approval to move ahead with the RFP and needed numbers. We did say that we need
Absolutely.
numbers to be able to go through our process of approving it.
And
And
I,
I'm getting the feeling that you guys are feeling like we're holding you out. I'm getting that feeling.
well,
So-
2 years
Feeling that
ago,
we
yeah.
communicate with them too.
Yeah, and it's, we've been waiting for numbers.
Yeah.
To be able to approve.
You want those
We-
final numbers? We gave the estimate. That's as
We-
good as we've got at this point. The RFP is out. and
We aren't gonna approve on estimates.
Okay,
We're gonna approve on a bid.
Mhm.
Right? And I don't know that we've said, don't go get don't go get bids. I don't know
no,
that
and
we've said
I
that at
believe
all.
there was communication between you and Matt regarding the bid process and putting bids out.
Yeah,
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 Okay.
we've a couple times said,
right.
yeah, let's get
Let's
bids.
go. So that went
Let's
out
go.
last week, I believe. Mr. Shasta was on vacation the week before.
So,
I do know that.
But
So-
Jeff did reach out to him too, and Matt's response was, we'll come to a city council meeting.
and I mean, we're ready, we've been through the process with the planning, the DDA, the city council, we've reviewed the plans. Everybody thinks the plans are great,
Absolutely.
right? But in order for us to approve, we need to have a down.
If we can get that dollar figure, it's sooner rather than later. And I don't know how long it takes to put out RFPs or what the time is. It 2 days you respond? Is it 7 days you respond? I don't know that stuff.
Mhm.
If we get numbers and it's before your next council meeting, would you be willing to call a special meeting for that approval?
Depends on how much
Okay,
ahead of, I mean, if it's
I
like,
think
Gotcha.
I think there's a simpler solution to that, I mean, we're not opposed to the project. We know that it's gonna be, we know it's probably gonna be
Yes.
300,
yes,
right?
Yep,
so
Yep.
we could approve
A certain amount.
150,000 or 50%, whichever's less.
That's what we would
You know,
already.
I mean, that way we would be,
Yep.
we aren't holding anything
Yep.
up. And, yeah, I mean, so that would take care of that. And then if it goes over the 150 and the school wants more from us, then they
it
would.
would be like squeezing a turnip.
No, you guys would have to come. Yeah, I mean, we would just.
No,
have to- have that
Paula, I get
discussion.
that. We work that way.
Because otherwise we are gonna,
We're very familiar with
Yeah.
working that way.
so I mean, I feel like, because we kind of, I mean, 150 might be our max. I mean, I don't know what you guys are thinking,
And
but.
we get that.
I mean, if
You
we got
know?
the money, why not? You know what I mean? So we're not holding them up. If we got the money covered, I don't have a problem with it.
That's what we talked about was.
And my thing is, I mean, this
But
is
it was
a-
the matter of, do we want to wait? Hold it for a little bit
right.
based on that was the issue.
it's a great PR thing too. Hey, the city, the school district's working together to make better drop off area and make, parking for the movies in the park. Whatever.
I think everybody at this
I
table
know.
thinks the project's great.
I know.
Great
I
thing,
know.
right?
I'll
And-
stop.
And if we were in April or May, I would probably be sitting here going, no, let's wait for the grant for 2 months, right? Because we can still get it done, right? Problem is the grant, we hear about October 31st and then you get into winter and can they actually do it or wait till spring?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And those are some questions I'll just put back to Matt and say, listen, here's what we discussed. They're gonna, discuss it and see. if you approve an amount or whatever, please let us know. So, and as soon as we get real numbers, we would certainly share that. We, and you know, I don't know when there's a drop dead date for winter construction, you know. I just have
October
no-
31st is getting
Pretty much, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
like Dave said, they shut down the asphalt plants.
Yeah, and
November
see, that's-
15th or something.
That's the thing. So how do we, you know, if we can get this moving in the next, you know, week or so, it sounds like maybe we can get it going. So,
When
And hopefully we don't have any like discoveries like was, happened before with a little added extra cost on it.
oh, yeah, yeah. So how that ever happened, who knows? 'Cause it wasn't our property till we bought it,
Right, right.
or yours till we bought it.
I would actually like to make a motion to do the one.
I second,
or have.
Or 50%, whichever is less,
yes, or yes, the wording there.
in the event that it happens to be less than 300,000.
Then we get going on it.
By
I
no
just think
trees.
it's a safety issue. I just think, although I'd like to get a grant, the timing of it.
So.
You can do something too, because I mean, it does look kind of horrendous. Like as it
It's
sits.
an old spray paint, just take it over the top.
It was a nasty looking storage unit. for
Yeah,
years.
yeah.
I'm just saying.
It looks better now.
Yeah,
Absolutely. I think we've already made quite the improvement.
Okay, so we have a motion. Did we get a second? We
second,
did. Okay. Any further discussion? Okay, roll call.
Miller,
Yes.
Nichols.
yes,
Craig,
Yes.
Keesler. Yes. Keith.
Yes. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
And I will be part of the communication process too, as this always moves. Because I seem to be
Thank you.
around now that I'm retired, so,
there you go.
except with mom's not.
Make it happen.
All right, next, resolution 2313
Go
supporting
ahead.
Main Street program. So
Did you skip number 5?
Yeah.
did I did, I apologize, planning and zoning.
Wishful thinking.
Services, so that was Spicer, wasn't it? Spicer?
Yep. Kim, those
Uh,
didn't
it's
come
on
to
the
that
back.
bad packets out, so I don't know if you guys end up getting.
I didn't get one.
And it's in the back.
Oh,
Oh,
very back.
okay.
How did I miss that?
If you picked it up before Friday at 4, you wouldn't have done it. When I picked it up, it should have.
It's the Spicer one.
Yes.
So. Randy doesn't have it.
I don't have it either.
Here.
Darn it all.
So
Well,
basically,
thank you.
it's just a price,
Oh,
um,
I didn't say it. He didn't.
So this is kind of the,
Oh, got you.
and so the very back page is like their, hourly rates and that kind of thing. And I talked to Michael and, he said, a lot of the things like they would pay the lower rate administrative assistant to do or whatever, but there's certain things that you gotta have a planner for and things like that. And I ran these prices like against McKenna. And they look really similar and like what we pay CPAE for some of their admin staff and stuff. I mean, we average more than, some of these numbers on here, so I think it's reasonable. I think we could, even if we just try it for a year or so, see what services and if it's in a range we want to pay, we were paying Preston services considerably less, but we also weren't getting, we weren't able to get him here when we needed, and he's been able to do that at a lesser rate for years. But I guess it's up to you what you.
So we were talking about this before, correct? Because they're familiar with us and what we do. That's the big
Correct.
thing.
Fine.
Yeah,
It's
Yeah.
way easier than starting over. Michael, it's very,
Michael Wood with Preston and.
right, yeah, Michael's very familiar with us. We've worked with him. I know I can work with him, he's like. So,
I don't have a problem with it because then at least now we're not, got someone that comes into the picture that don't have a clue and that might cost us more.
it would cost us more.
You know.
To get them
Yeah,
up to speed,
Yep,
because all the hourly rates.
yep.
it would.
What do we need here when
Motion to accept their proposal.
I make a motion?
Second.
It's like we're spending money. Oh, yeah.
But we were spending money on that.
No, I mean, I gotta take roll call.
Oh.
Yeah. But is there any more discussion? Okay, go ahead.
Miller,
Yes.
Nichols.
Yes.
Frank,
Yes.
Geisler. That's Geisler.
Yes. All right, supporting Main Street program.
I guess, Olivia had a little unexpected activity at the DD. So, I mean, I'm not really necessarily asking you to approve this resolution tonight, but I do want to talk about how we got here. When we started talking about Main Street, probably several years ago. And then on 2 occasions, we wrote grants to get a fellow. The second one we were awarded, and one of our items was to become a Main Street certified community. And so as you look at this resolution, I mean, it's really not saying anything that we're not already trying to do. It's just gonna provide us with resources.
See, I need to quit picking facts up a little early, I guess.
No, it should be in there.
There it is, sorry. Yeah, a little happy flipping paper. Sorry.
So, it just talks about like how the downtown's vital, and it talks about how we want to work on revitalization and what our intent is to attract, retain, expand businesses. So far, any of those sound like things we're not doing. The Michigan Main Street, they provide consulting services, but you have to follow their program to get those services. And that, it's based on design, which if you read the design piece, it talks about exactly what we're trying to do. Economic vitality, we want to strengthen, by getting more customer base, more businesses. Again, what we already want to do. Talks about promoting our events and our uniqueness and our characteristics. And all of these will be in plans that we draw together. And marketing, and then it's got the organization, and this is where the sticky part comes in, is that Paula's always done the stuff for the DDA, like the DDA is a board that meets, and then, Dave or Paula kind of takes care of the work. Well, this organization joining the Main Street, it's gonna require that board to be a more active board. They're gonna have to get involved in some promoting activities, maybe getting volunteers to help with the flowers downtown, or whatever it is they've decided, and their plan lays out all the things they want to do downtown. And then the last sticky part is that you're supposed to hire a paid program director. But, write me if I'm wrong here, but I think that's like 5 years into the program. So if you never get there, you've still used all the Michigan Main Street programs. You've become engaged?
Yeah, you're in the engaged 1 to 3 years, just depending on how long it takes you to submit this select level application. And then you're in the select level for 5 years, which is when you would be hiring the director. So it could be up to 8 years if you took the longest chunk of time in each section.
And I think the part that, if the city and the DDA decide they don't want to go this route, then that's the decision that needs to be made. But if it is the decision we want to go this route, then we gotta have a group of people who want to move this program forward. And who want to promote the downtown, and who want to, get involved in, and we need more events, we want more events. That's what everybody says every time we meet. So, basically, the 2 things that this resolution does not meet is the Main Street approach to the downtown revitalization has been pursued and supported by the DDA. So the DDA did not support this resolution. They didn't.
So let me comment on that.
And there's one more thing though,
Yep.
that then it says that the city supports the application for the DDA to be the Main Street. So that's the last 2 things that we have to determine here. Everything else is cookie cutter right out of all of our plans, out of everything we are doing.
So I'm not sure why, but the DDA I couldn't find it outside.
Kim had some technical difficulties,
So when you say
unfortunately.
she had something go on, what would
What
that
she
be?
said to me, she said we had unexpected, what did you say, that it didn't go as expected?
So there was one paragraph in there that it said, it didn't say after a period of time, it said you will hire a full-time person.
Which it says in here, the same,
I can't find it.
it's right here, under organization and the guidance of a paid program director.
So do we know of any city that's went
might be a
through
little
this
different.
I
process
think it's- Yeah,
and at the end decided not to hire someone? I don't know.
You just can't
How many
move on.
people, you just can't move on?
Right, I mean, you just would never make it to the like highest level or whatever, and honestly,
So you're gonna try to figure out these things that are helping, if it justifies being able to
we could
hire
be 3
someone.
to 5 years before we are in that boat. But maybe next year somebody would say, you know, this stuff is really helping, we should probably hire somebody. So we aren't to that step yet, but if that's the only issue, then we
That
can
was-
change that
that
language
was,
in there.
that was basically what we asked.
So I have a
Well,
question.
she made it sound like
Well-
that there was also a little bit like, you know, well, because about the fundraising and things like that.
People, I think, are also struggling a little bit. Figuring out how to do the conversion, for lack of a better term. How do we get from where we're at now to the downtown, and what does that look like?
And I don't think there's any difference. I think the board will, it'll be the same board doing the same things. And if they hire somebody, if that does happen, then that person would be the person who's, you
So I have
know.
a question though, big one. Why does DDA have a problem? So they have a problem with us?
They should be more active, she's saying.
Oh,
Well, I'm trying, I am trying to put together what I think, you know, happened, and I kind of feels like that maybe. They got a little scared about this. They got like, you know, we gotta hire somebody, we
You're
gotta,
exactly right.
Obligated.
That
to
that
hire
was,
someone.
that was exactly,
right,
the way it was in the document that we had, made it sound like we had to hire somebody. Now, I did say, well, I don't think that's for 5 years or until we get to that point,
right,
but they still didn't,
right.
people did it. I'll be honest, the document made it sound like we had to hire.
The other thing that I think I'm hearing is that I've heard reference that charging and having events that we're charging for, and I mean, I have done a lot of events up to this point, and I feel like we're in the growing stage of really trying to get people here. And I think that was one of the things when I look at some of the things that we're saying,
But I feel like, how do you get your money for the music?
sponsors.
That's exactly what we're talking about, is that the DDA would get sponsors. Right now, the DDA is one of your sponsors.
Right,
We're asking the DDA to get sponsors to have more events.
okay,
So that's the practice here, not charging for events.
okay.
But we could also, I mean, we could like have a 5K, you gotta pay an entrance fee.
Right.
And the DDA gets $10,000 from a 5K that they can put towards new flowers downtown or umbrellas, or, you know, I mean, you can't,
I love that idea, but literally today I was thinking we should have a 5K.
but you can't plan to improve the downtown or make things better and keep everything the same. So if you want that next step, someone has to make that commitment, you know, and it can't be on one person's shoulders. We gotta get those, and that's where Olivia's gonna come in, is if everybody's behind this and we wanna do it, her job is to get downtown and get those businesses involved. And when I say downtown, because it's the downtown businesses that really need, you know, those building owners, those businesses, they need to get involved and tell us what they want, what they need, what Langsford needs. She needs to talk to the customers down there. What do you guys want? What do you need? And then if all the businesses out, like, you know, say Dairy Den wants to come downtown for an event, then maybe they want to volunteer for events, or maybe they want to, you know, help with fundraisers, or, but it's not like the DDA is gonna start charging for events. It's like, we always used to get people to pay for the movies. Like COVID hit, we stopped doing it. And we got sponsors for those. We had tons of sponsors for the pancake breakfast and stuff like that. It's not like there's not sponsors out there. And I feel like this is the similar situation. That, you know, we could have a craft show downtown. Maybe you don't charge to get in the craft show, but you charge every booth. You know, we could, I mean, there's just, I don't even know what the end is You know, but we feel like there are things we could do. You can have a cornhole tournament. You know, you could raise money to have a cornhole tournament so you can give out prizes.
Well, that's the whole idea when I tried to start talking about Summerfest and I came to the DDA to try to get them to give money to that, is that we can do so much more if all these people engage.
Well,
not
I think
just-
that's what we need the DDA to do, is engage like you want to see that engagement. And I think that's what we're asking for here. And however, if the city's not behind it and the DDA is not behind it, then,
So,
no, I'm not, I'm just
Yeah,
saying
no,
that
no,
we
no.
need to know that that's the direction you want us to go.
I would say that it wasn't that the DDA wasn't necessarily behind it. Just not clear on how to get there and well, the whole hiring somebody.
And I think we can clarify those
Yeah,
things,
it's like-
if that's all it is.
Yeah.
Could we possibly get a list of some of the cities that are involved in this?
No, we can't do that.
So we haven't been through training where they've shown it. Old town.
Probably did be very big.
Yeah.
You should, you
So
can,
the ones I'm
but you
interested
have
in it is.
you can watch that training, the stuff that we're doing.
I have,
I recommend
I
you do
went
it at
to a
night.
meeting.
No, but
in
that's.
a place-
A lot of certified communities speak, like
It's
they
like
just
county
talk
sheet.
about, and it lists off a bunch of them.
Sorry, that's.
So like, you would be able to, but Owasso is,
Okay,
Also is the closest one to us.
Owl,
Old Town was one.
Old Town,
And like
yep, and
Lansing.
downtown Lansing. So-
Rio.
And so
what
what,
about a city our size? You know what I'm saying? Are we gonna be like one of the,
And that
are
was
we gonna be
actually.
a
They
minority? Or
would be a smaller one, but they're,
give me a city that's more similar size.
That was one of the questions the DD.
Everett,
that's what she.
see, that's where, I went to Everett to,
Yep, Everett is.
yeah, and
Yep.
I went to their city council and, yeah, they're slightly bigger than us, but it is similar. It's
But
a
they're
different-
downtown, not near as nice. as
No, I
ours.
know. We have our cabin like a few miles from.
I
so
drove
went to
forever
their-
and said, they need me.
I went to their city council and I actually heard this program when they started doing it a while ago.
yeah, and they're in this select level, so I think they're still working towards hiring a person. I think it's coming up on 5 years for them though, so they might have already hired when I just read their.
So one of
like,
the next
impact report
things
online.
that we want to do is we want to plan a field trip to one of these main street cities. But we need people who can help us keep this program moving. And I think that if that is the direction we want to keep going, that we are gonna have to invest some time and effort into it.
I mean, I think weren't we talking about at 1.2, like having some kind of like artwork? That's throughout, little different areas maybe that.
Yep.
I mean,
I mean, that's
I'm
part-
all for that. I mean, we got some history sign stuff, signage up and. I mean. It does definitely need a little something downtown. I don't know, painting on the Boondocks wall or. Structures in town or artwork stuff.
So you're just looking for the
Artsy-fartsy.
city to get
I mean,
behind
I
this.
don't know if the city feels like they could make this motion until after the DBA does.
Well,
and
'cause
I
we
mean-
didn't get the training. They got the training.
Right, and
I
it's,
mean,
it's not required that the city council
No.
gets the training, but they certainly can. We can get them signed up for it, right, Liv?
Yeah,
but I feel like they really need to.
Well,
Engage.
so part
For
of
this to
doing
work.
the downtown. Thing is that the DDA goes through the training.
Right,
And that's
It's
part of that's a
required.
requirement.
Yeah.
right. No, I know, but I'm saying we really need them to sign in before it really.
And I don't think they were that far from,
Maybe you could just, mock up the resolution where you think the issues are.
yeah, let me see if I can find.
If
it.
not,
I
we
still
have it.
one.
We have it.
Yeah,
And
okay. It was just that one sentence
Yeah,
where it sounded like we had to hire somebody. The wording made it sound like that. And I brought up, no, I think that's only if we get to that point. right?
and honestly, I mean, it is like trying to commit towards getting there, right,
Yeah,
eventually.
right.
So we don't wanna like
Yeah.
prove that and say, no, you shouldn't,
Mm.
because we do think that maybe it is something that, I mean.
So basically, we're gonna revisit this if we get Downtown Development Authority to get in on it.
Yeah, and they, I mean, it's not like they didn't know about any of this, because we've been watching the videos, we've been
Training.
talking about it for a while. So I think that it was a hiccup.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, once people started reading that, it kind of became a slope downwards and they started going,
well, I don't know, do we, well, what is this, well, okay, like,
yeah, okay. So. I think we can,
So bring it back up with the next.
yeah, yep,
but I didn't wanna just not talk about it, cause I
Yep,
wanted to make
nope.
sure you guys
Yep.
were also, you know, in favor. of
Yeah, I
sticking
wanted
with-
to see it, but. Obviously.
Yeah, me too.
all right. So we'll wait after the DDA meeting, the next DDA meeting. Which I probably.
Okay.
2023 audits.
So we talked about this in the finance.
Yeah.
We talked about it before, how our fees went up on the auditors. Like almost 50%. And so Paula went out and got some other bids. And the finance committee recommends going with the BMD and Associates. Based on the fact that they do know about us, they were able to give us a 3-year pricing out. So we kind of know what the price is gonna be, and it's not gonna be 50% more anything. And
So they're like, looks like $2,000 less. Ish.
but they're able to tell us what our price is gonna be for the next 3 years.
The $5,000 less if we do the three. The
Oh.
3-year.
Yeah.
And plus, we don't
Oh,
know that
yeah.
16 might go up.
Right.
They didn't give her a price.
So if we just gave them 1-year contract, it would be 14,000, but it's 11 for,
Year one.
right. If you get
Yep.
them the 3-year
Yeah,
contract.
I know.
Okay.
Yeah. Took me a minute.
The Gaybridge there wouldn't give us a 3-year.
They just
Yeah,
not got
just
back
have-
with me yet. I hate to say wouldn't, but didn't.
Yeah, you got it. Oh, that answered my question. Okay.
I did ask.
Mhm.
And Randy's one of the owners, and he already interacts with them on other audits, so she's knows how they work too, so.
And you can do it this year. So. I mean, that was my other concern, was trying to find somebody who could fit us in their schedule.
Right.
So,
That's VMD that you're talking about.
Mhm.
Yeah, okay. So we need a motion to,
I make a motion.
I'll second it. For the
sign
3 year.
3-year.
3 years.
So we saved money.
there you go.
So I can spend it.
All right. Roll call. Or do we have any more discussion on that? Before we go to the roll call?
Miller,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Craig,
Yes.
Geisler. Geisler.
Yes. All right, consider approval of LSW 2024-2025 proposed budget. All right, I gotta ask. Why does it say consider?
Because you guys have to approve it.
Okay.
I mean, I know you don't like it if I put approve it.
Okay, I got it.
So.
Okay.
It does help my minutes a lot. I have to
Okay.
type a word again, but.
Okay, perfect.
So their time doesn't correspond with the June like ours, is there?
There's April. April 1st to March 31st is their fiscal year.
Okay.
Yep. And
That's
it's
interesting.
in the interlocal agreement that each entity has to approve the budget. So if one entity doesn't approve it, sometimes they have some issues.
But if 2 or 3 approve it,
The other one's gotta,
go with it.
yep.
I make a motion to accept it.
I'll second, but then we can ask questions, right?
Yeah, that's all right. So any discussion, question? We want Dan to go over it real quick.
Anything you want?
Go over it.
Well, kind of self-explanatory there.
Okay.
You know, we're trying to also provide you some of the bigger expenses that we're looking at, having to replace. One of the items there is, of course, the new ambulance. We have money set aside on the right-hand side there of that proposal. And it shows that, because the new ambulance keeps going up in price. $100,000 of that ambulance is two pieces of equipment. That's the power cot to get people in and out of the ambulance, which is about $60,000. That's required by the states now, part of their system. And the other $40,000 is that EKG monitor, which gives you your heart rate. It does a 12 lead, see what your heart conditions are. But that machine is about 35,000, plus you have to get the extended warranty on it. That brings about $40,000 for that machine. Say yes if you're having a heart attack, or what the system is. That machine also shocks you if you are having a heart attack. But right there, that's already $100,000 before we even have our ambulance. So in order to also order an ambulance, it's about 2 years out. So we're looking at going to the authority board and actually looking at getting an ambulance to start that process, because we know it's going to take 2 years to get that ambulance. Also, there is an increase in wage for the firefighters. There's also $1 an hour increase for the paramedics and the EMTs. We figure we have to keep at that rate that the other jurisdictions are within our county. Otherwise, we're not going to be able to keep our paramedics and EMTs. Right now, we do have 50. I just hired another guy today that's a paramedic. So we have 16 on our EMS staff. So we have the 24/7 coverage. The other,
Before we didn't have that, correct, because we didn't have enough people, because we didn't pay them enough.
correct,
So our ambulance is down, and then you get, the state gets after you, correct?
right.
You haven't set into.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, if we're not in service, then the state gets after us for that, but, I think the budget is in line, we're not overspending on anything, we did ask for that raise for the, up to 2 mils for the ambulance, again, that's less than $200 per year per household. So I think we're doing good, the fire department, it's struggling because that 1 mill that they operate on has been in effect for, I don't know, 30 years and or longer. So that's a different avenue that the fire department will have to look at it coming in 2024. But that's a different aspect. But right now, I think that we went over the budget with Paula on a couple of occasions, and this is what we've come up with.
So my question was, because we do have the 24/7. That's increased what we think our income is going to come in, correct? Like some of these lines.
Yeah.
And
So, right now, even our call volume is up on our ambulance. And so we do bill for that, services. So from our billing, we're looking at bringing in over $100,000 just from our billing of patients, being transported to the hospital. So that does help offset some of that cost.
And I think you might have answered, but the question I had, this capital outlay of 114, is that setting aside for that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then just more of a, because I don't know, what's SCBA stand for?
Those are the air tanks that we use to, when we go into a fire.
Okay.
Or on the outside fire, depending on the smoke conditions. And so those are items that we have to replace. Every 5 years, they have to be hydrostat tested. After 20 years, 15 years, they're no longer good because we have the synthetic bottles that are lighter to carry. Because you don't want the aluminum anymore. The aluminum bottles are gone. We use the synthetic coated bottles, and they're only good for 15 years.
So do we set like $10,000 away aside for that? Is that how it also works? Okay. So some of this is outlays that we're, that the stuff's coming in.
And sometimes we're lucky to have a rich cousin to the west that sometimes gives us equipment that's not expired. And then that also helps us not having to buy like 8 or 10 SCBA's, because I know somebody that works to the west that's able to give us some extra equipment.
That's all my questions.
Okay, any other questions? Any other discussion? All right, roll call.
What's the motion?
She said to accept.
To approve it?
To approve it.
Okay,
I seconded it.
got it. Miller, Geisler, right?
Yes.
All right. Not Miller, you're Nichols. Miller,
Oh, I'm sorry.
I thought she was starting roll call already, so yes.
Miller. Nichols,
Yes.
Craig,
Yes.
Geisler. Geisler.
Yes,
Well, my friends could keep calling me that. I'm so used to it.
all right. The LSW budget's been approved. All right, prioritization of projects. What are we looking for from this discussion?
So Olivia and I tried to make a list of, most of our projects that we could think of that are coming down the pipe. And things that we, talked about with the MEDC, with each other, with you guys. And then we tried to look at like funding sources that were available for some of these projects. We're trying to get a little bit of guidance on what things are most important to you guys. Like, what do you want us to, like, is it like, we know we're gonna need to update our master plan. And then we've talked about that maintenance code. And like this money, this technical assistance money that the redevelopment team has, there's $47,500 that we have access to. It's not like a grant like that we have to write for it. We're actually just eligible for it. And so we're kind of trying to figure out, would you guys rather have some like good training? Would you rather us start working on that code development? Like, we can hire a professional service to do those things with this money. And then like a marketing study, but we just listed out a bunch of things. One of the really good things about the Main Street, is that like we would do a downtown website. So it would talk about the events that are happening in downtown. It wouldn't get all muddled up with taxes and minutes, and it would just be like downtown Langsburg and whatever's happening. So the development of a website for that. And yes, the DDA could pay for that, but we could also use those technical assistance dollars. How best we improve those communications we've talked about. There's planners, there's people out there that help you make those things happen, and they'll pay for those things. So the other thing is there's a Prosperity Consumers Energy Award that we decided to throw our hat in, and it's we're gonna try to see if we can use that to clean up that site out there for the 120 railroad. I don't know if it'll work or not. If they'll give you up to 250.
Yes.
So Olivia's been working on that. And then there's one that we specifically want Olivia to start working on, and I think it will help with the DDA situation, to help them understand how we want to raise money to do good things for downtown. It's called a crowdfunding, and it's a public spaces, community places, and it's through the MEDC, and they have a crowdfunding organization or something that helps you. But like, and I've always kind of thought, well, man, I don't know if we want to do this, but they said that like it's really successful, and it's something that they think it works well with the fellows in their timeline. They can actually get this done, awarded, and built, and in their year and a half here. So is there some like $150,000 project? Don't say the 300 parking lot, whatever you do. Like that you would like to see Olivia do for that. One of the things we thought of is it could build the pickleball. But we're also thinking on the next item on the agenda that we might apply to that new community center grant for, the park in case we don't get the Spark grant. So.
As you're going through all these projects, can you think of any other project that would be in that realm of that amount of money?
The community spaces one. So that one is, you can crowd fund however much you can, and then MEDC will match up to $50,000. So typically they're, like Paula said, 100K-ish. We talked about the pickleball courts. We talked about the vacant land that's near Roosevelt Road, doing like a food truck picnic with like lights and seating and stuff. That could also do the farmer's market. I'm trying to think what else we brainstormed when MEDC came. Anything that's placemaking, so if like downtown needed flowers and stuff, that would fall into that, but I think it's a pretty broad grant application that is whatever the town defines placemaking as and what they currently want.
I mean, anything on that 300 parking lot that we could make it, so that it's beautification or. When the DDA's talked about, I don't know, because Mark wasn't at the last meeting, but he's mentioned to us, like, putting in one of those nice electronic signs that matches the schools. I don't know that that would be that much money, but,
So. That area, I know at one point we were talking about a gazebo down there and stuff like that. At one point down the road, but I don't know, as this has evolved and stuff. I feel like. Placement closer to park makes more sense.
what about
But-
the splash pad to everybody?
Yeah.
We could do that on that,
Yeah,
200 Grand River site by the
that's
farms.
another idea, yeah.
I mean, I guess that, that's the
Yeah.
thing is that, I don't know.
So obviously we can't do pickleball down there, we can't do the rink down there.
Well, we could put the ice rink there, I suppose, but we could use the fundraising for the ice rink or the pickleball or the splash pad or, something like that. So, but I think that it's something that would really be great for Olivia to work on, but we need guidance on which project, or if you guys had a project that we didn't think of,
Cause the splash pad wasn't in the Spark grant that we,
no, it was not, no. And it does have to be in the downtown, that one.
Yes.
The murals, we talked about maybe doing murals.
I really like the idea.
It could cover, doing some murals and things
Cover
like
up some
that.
buildings that are dilapidated a little bit.
More historical signage, but I mean, $100,000 is probably a hell of a lot of signs.
Right.
Right, 10. Just kidding. So, I mean. What do you think, would just be like, wow, that'd be really cool downtown or in the park or? I don't know.
What,
Well,
where is the second, under housing, the second floor apartments or commercial buildings between?
Senders,
Okay.
or senders of.
Well, I mean, we do
Right.
have some, well, yeah, the one we're working on right now, but what we're looking at is projects that, I mean, that one's almost done. So what we're thinking of is there are other buildings that don't have any apartments up there. And so that for housing purposes, like, so this section is just about, how do we get some more housing downtown? And we've kind of inventoried and we have a few that don't have those. So we could seek grant funds to do those. Somebody mentioned, well, there's room right here from the park to build houses and down on Lang Street and Roosevelt Road, they mentioned, we could put some houses down there or apartments. We have Treat Street, which,
I think I missed this in the last bullet point earlier too. I was kind of thinking that the McClintock Street between the amphitheater and City Hall, I thought it was saying to build commercial buildings there.
No.
Floor apartment. I was just confused by that. I was trying to envision like,
no.
I mean, it'd be kind of cool
Like
if
you
there were
can pop a
businesses
couple
off of
houses
Main
in
Street.
there, and the city owns that property, there's already a street there, there's all the infrastructure and. So, I mean, we just kind of tried to just brainstorm on a few things and we, talk about the things we're already working on, but.
So you're just wanting us to tell what our top pick is for her to focus on? That's the goal.
Yeah, I think that'd be great. If that crowdfunding one sounds good, and if you want, you want her to get started working on it. I mean, this month, we're gonna probably be busy wrapping up these other grants, getting them in, and that one doesn't have a deadline. So if you want to do it in September, we could do that.
If we say we want her to start working on that crowd, that one in particular. Could she bring a couple of ideas and we look at them, or you want us to give a couple of ideas that she can? look
All of it.
into?
I mean, I just think that it's like, I mean, if you guys right now, if you said, we want the splash pad, then I'd ever working on it. But if we don't really know, then we could look and see what the price is of a couple of projects and, see what interest is out there. I didn't look at those survey results today. We were looking at them. Was there something else on that survey?
I think we investigated how much a splash pad was gonna cost that.
Yeah, we have a price on that. I
So
think.
what
I
was
think-
it?
I
I
thought
mean,
we
is it
did
in
have
the
a price.
ballpark?
I don't remember.
I think it is in the 100,000 ballpark. The splash pad is.
For some reason, I was thinking it was expensive, but
It was expensive.
I don't know if it's in that ballpark. I mean, looks size wise. I mean, I don't know. I think splash pad would be cool, but I just don't know about maintenance and the amount, I guess, that we're talking.
They would love it.
Like,
Oh, wow.
No,
I don't know, I remember we talked about it was expensive, but the people we talked to said the maintenance wasn't that.
yeah, you're the one that, I wasn't gonna mention that. I was waiting for you because you called the guy and he said, well, isn't that bad? It's easy. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, we really all thought it would just be a huge pain to take care of, but.
I really like during the summer fest, seeing the volleyball tournament going on, just having like the community down there, there's like 50 people down there playing and watching. It was so nice to like see like adults doing something down at the park and like a sport, and more than just like two people playing tennis or whatever like that. So then I bring that up, I guess it could be great to see more of that, and whatever we can do to make that happen. Just
And that's one of the items
together.
that, we kind of listed as like to develop a plan, for like. Planned programming at the park like that, like somebody who would, work with groups to get, a pickleball tournament going, a tennis tournament going, maybe something with skate park, I don't know, but those are the things that, I think that we need somebody who can plan those things and, try to call all these people and get things going. That's like a event coordinator and there's like planning grants out there to help you get set up for that. So that is, but I don't know if that would work for your crowdfunding one. But we could use those technical assistance dollars for that.
And it makes it hard because these are good, these are all good, so I mean, it makes it tough to.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd like you to research all of it, but, I mean,
I'd like to at
It
least
just
look
makes it hard.
into a smaller splash pad and see. I just don't know if that's even in the realm of the amount of money we're talking, I guess, for sure. What?
McCarty hires a voice.
Well, that's what I saw there. That was pretty funny. You did splash pad.
Well, imagine how many people a splash pad would bring downtown.
Well, yeah, and that's another thing to consider because it's crowdfunding. You want something that's gonna appeal to the people that are going to hopefully donate to the project. So the splash pad, I know just from looking at the Spark thing, this survey, I think like 38% of people voted for a splash pad in that survey. It was the highest voted one, I think, on it. So I feel like that would be a good, like, example of something that would be successful because people are gonna put their dollars towards something they actually want.
How many people voted in that survey?
Couple hundred, I
Yeah,
think.
I don't know.
This is the Langsburg survey, I missed that.
Mhm.
Okay.
It was in.
Also, okay,
So I know that my wife drives my daughter to St. John's, Splash Pad, or Owasso, and it's like, we're driving 20-25 minutes to the splash pad. So I can
Mhm.
definitely see how it.
I would definitely bring people in.
And then DPA is gonna charge people to get into it.
Yes. We only gonna charge if they want to sit on one of the benches.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to that, and it'll draw more people here, and keep you local, not driving all over.
Yeah.
So I guess I'd check into that, that's what I'm looking at.
I mean, the splash pad could go no matter what our grants are that we're working on, because we don't have that in anything. So it's something we could look at. And even if it's more than $100,000, it's crowdfunding, right? So if the city gave money, the DDA gave money, and we raised $100,000, I mean,
Right, there's no limit on what you can crowdfund it, there's just a
Right.
max of what MEDC.
And there's good parking right there. Cause I think when I go with my grandkids, cause I have volunteers too. You don't wanna walk a long ways and cart all their stuff, so I feel like that's actually, there's a lot of parking very close to that area.
are you talking about this
The
one?
Roosevelt, yeah.
Oh, down on Roseville, not the one up the hill.
Not in front of the post office.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Oh,
that
that's what
spot
you're thinking for
yeah.
this, but, oh.
Right in front of the post office there.
Okay.
The parking probably not, I mean, there's a parking lot and there's the Roosevelt Road parking
What were you
and
thinking of doing in Roosevelt?
on Roosevelt Road, we were talking about either building houses
Or
apartments or the farmer's market or the food truck court. There's another option, so.
No, I'm thinking of the 2023 Prosperity Consumers Energy.
And,
Huh?
and what are you thinking?
Cause that's the one for the focus on neighborhood, to revitalize, arts and culture. I'm big into that. I think we need to bring that to Langsberg a little bit. Colorful painting on, walls, and maybe we get some sculptures. Cause I know MSU, they've got some cool looking stuff that they have artists bring in. And then, then some of them, they keep moving around. But, they bring them in, display their stuff, and it's pretty cool what they come up with. I got pictures of all sorts of cool stuff on campus that I just stumbled upon and go, what was that? When did that show up? So they got a cool looking bird that's made out of big nails and stuff with a rose hanging out of its beak. It's really cool.
Yeah.
All sorts of stuff.
And how about the dog park thing? Anybody got any?
I don't-
feeling?
We had somebody at the DDA bring that up.
We hear it. I mean,
Yeah. It was Chris.
I don't think everybody says it. I don't want to be that person, but I mean, I
I've heard it a few
the
times.
American Legion has mentioned to us that they want to build a dog park. You guys had it at the DDA. It has come up in our surveys, so that's another, that could be a crowdfunding one. That's probably not a lot of infrastructure.
Right.
I would like to see a trail, like some sort of walking, biking trail system, somehow like around like water treatment or like the woods behind it or something that we own. Like, has that been explored? I know we briefly talked about it at the planning commission like 6 months ago, but like,
We have looked at trail grants. We've got some maps and stuff. I don't know if that one is still up there. I think it is.
I know the people out on Langsberg Road like to see a boat launch on a trail, the opposite where we were talking about.
I think it'd be great to have some sort of biking trail. I could see people coming into town for that. Kind of connects you to Sleepy Hollow too, which I know is kind of an initiative and there's trails and stuff out there.
And we just don't have that much space for like a bike trail out there.
Yeah,
Right.
I don't know how much land they own.
I mean,
And what we do
but
have
we could,
flooded half of the year.
Is it?
right, but we could make connectivity, like we could put a sidewalk or trail down Woodbury Road, down Meridian Road, or the places we don't have sidewalk. And, we talked about making a loop back there before, but as far as actually like, I mean, if you came here to ride your bike, you'd be really disappointed.
I mean, one thing
I
kind
mean,
of,
we're kind of the pass through, right? I mean, we want to be a place where the bikes can stop. Just, yeah, I mean, we want to have the
Yeah.
facilities to get them through here, but we don't, I mean, we have a couple of bike lanes.
I mean, what kind of ruined it though was when they did away with the railroad tracks and then sold off parcels. And I mean, we could have made rails, rails to trails.
Yeah,
What
That
like cool about,
connectivity was cut off. though.
yeah,
that would have been
so,
awesome. I'm a huge biker and I kind of thought that.
Since we look at these things, if we pick one, then you just tell us which grant it's gonna go in, right? Is
Right,
that-
yeah, right. I
Okay,
mean,
so
those are
here's the
things
way-
that's what we've been trying
Yeah,
to do.
yeah,
We got, I mean, grants are just,
Right. The
Like-
one that I said this earlier and you know, the Boondock building, I really feel like you need to spend some time on that. Well, I don't know what grant that falls in, but redoing that
pay that.
building, no,
So
no,
we-
I
I-
develop it I really do think we need.
Yeah, and I have the MEDC already working on that.
Okay.
With, I mean, that's really like a,
It's already done, so. it's-
well, unless like if we do end up getting somebody who wants to buy it, then we might need a grant to help them, but we gotta we have to get it marketed to somebody who wants to buy it.
Okay,
And so that's our goal on that one right now.
what about the maintenance code development? Is that something that can go under this technical
Yes.
assistant?
Yep,
Okay, I'd like to target that one,
and that's,
because I feel like
mean,
that
that's
would be
something-
very nice to have. And I don't think we do,
no, we don't have it at all.
yeah.
Planning
Because I think
commission is
we-
working on it.
Right, but I think that we could use
Yeah.
these
Some
dollars
assistants,
yeah.
some people that are,
to help us develop that. Get through it and talk through it, because
we have a lot of wonderful things that we're getting, and it'd be nice to have the idea of maintaining it to last the longest it could, do you know what I'm saying?
yeah, and they did tell us that would be covered on that technical assistance, but I honestly don't think the development of that would take the whole
No, it wouldn't.
47.5, so
No.
keep going.
Uh,
I'm with Marcy on the arts and culture and painting murals. So I think that would be a wonderful focus.
I wouldn't mind seeing a marketing study too. So that we know that we're doing what people want. If that's one of those assistant technical things
Yep.
that we could use. Cause you can put them together, right? These things.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And that came from our work at becoming an RRC community. It's money that is just given to us to work with these programs. Some of those the TA might have some match. Was that the one? I think there might be like a 25% match on some of those or something.
Oh, yeah, I don't.
I also like the art and culture focus.
To me, the most important one is the 120 railroad, but I think you're right.
Yeah, we are.
We are, but I mean, I think that, and like I told Gail, we didn't really put these in any like
Yeah, no,
priority order,
yeah.
but that one just somehow was at the
Yeah,
top.
yeah, but
Highlight it all.
Okay,
Let's definitely see more apartments here.
How many are there? Two apartment unit buildings?
there's
Doyle Road.
Two,
No, by the
Well,
elementary school.
the one by the golf course and the one by the elementary school is the only apartments we have.
So two.
on the senior ones.
Well, that's not really apartments, well, them kind of like condos or something. Little housing.
Aren't these apartments too?
And those apartments.
Oh, I forgot about them there.
Yeah.
What, three in there, 4, 5, maybe 9 in there? Holy crap,
The
wow,
Blue House has 4 downtown.
oh, it does? Thought maybe there's only 2 in there.
No, there's
Wow.
4.
Interesting.
And we're trying to, encourage the mixed use with all the buildings downtown.
Is there grant for communication within organizations like businesses and things like that?
There probably is, I mean, there's,
Could we make that up?
yeah,
Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Oh,
I feel
absolutely.
like that's where,
I think
I-
it's
I
on
feel
our,
like-
it's definitely on our radar and in our list of things we want to do. I
I
think,
mean, I've tried for a while. Let us leave it
What
at
about
that.
the app, that the Langsberg app you talked about a couple months ago somewhere?
I think the development of that would, be covered, like we want to talk about.
I personally like that idea.
Yeah, I think
Push
that,
notifications to the citizens. and stuff.
yeah, I think that would definitely be something that, and we could have different groups. We could have business owners, we could have building owners, we could, different.
Be a lot better than having a Langsberg or the Facebook app for the city of Langsberg or whatever it is there. Everybody else's business on it, but Langsberg businesses.
okay. Did you get what you needed?
What do you think? Good,
Look into some art stuff and then the splash pad
perfect.
for the.
They'll definitely keep you busy for a little while.
I do need to applaud you two for your list. It was pretty comprehensive, so.
Yeah.
Thanks for what you do.
Sorry.
All right. So this is prosperity,
Yeah, Paul, thanks.
You're welcome.
prosperity awards.
So Olivia's taking the lead on this one and, you wanna tell them what you did or?
Yeah, so this award is formatted that you send in a letter of intent, which is due August 11th, so I believe that's this Friday. And then they will get back to you if you made it to receive the application, and then Langsberg would fill out the actual application, and then here if we would receive the funding. And so we focused on, because I think got pointed out that it was about community revitalization and then arts and culture. And within the community revitalization, it focused a lot on eliminating blight, and stuff like that. So we focused on the 120 railroad and hoping to be able to have funding to help clean that up so the project can move forward with actual construction, because we're kind of at a standstill now until we find funding to help make it safe to build on.
On the whole thing or just part of it?
Part of it,
Okay.
but the back part is there's a lot of wetlands there, so it really has reduced that, but, there's some cleanup that needs to be done there. We gotta get rid of the cement, there's,
Seems like that'd be a good one for us. It seems like we would get.
well, that's what we put together. So, if everybody's on board with us turning that in. then
Yep.
I think that's.
I don't have a problem
Do
with
we
it.
need to? Do we need to? do
Sure.
motions on-
Might as well make a motion and we can.
Make a motion to allow Olivia to go forward on the consumer energy. Letter of intent.
So you support the application,
Yeah,
city of
I'll let her
Lansing
do
support.
that.
Who seconded that? Got it. We'll just, that way we can always include that in our narrative that the city council supported this. application.
And
Right.
actually, we think that this will really help Lanesburg a lot to get that area so that we can build on it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, perfect. Resolution 2314, support of Michigan Community Center grant application.
See, all these fall right in line. So the Michigan Community Center grant. Is up to $250,000. 2.5 million. That one's the 2.5 million. Sorry, the one we just talked about was 250.
Yes.
So it's up to 2.5 million. And originally we thought, well, I don't know, we don't have a community center. Well, then we read in there that if you provide recreation, outdoor or indoor, that you're a community center. So welcome to our community center. And so we thought, if we don't get the Spark grant, why don't we just reapply for everything into that? So we just we have all the, and it was a short trigger for us. This thing came out end of July, or
Yeah, like 2 weeks ago.
yeah, we never got notification of it until a couple weeks ago, and so. We think this is. The best thing that we are ready for. Right, so if for us to pull something together by August 31st. It's the only thing that we really have that close to ready, except for 300 Grand River. But,
I make a motion, if we don't try, then we never know,
Second that.
Swing at the ball, you're never gonna hit it.
right?
So, on the motion, I need to know if you guys want to do any kind of match. And what we were looking at, Olivia, was, I don't know if I brought your number with me, the million.
It was, I think it was like $1,004,080. Just
Basically the-
over $1 million.
Yeah. So we're asking for basically what we did in the Spark grant.
But on the Spark grant, we didn't have to match, did we, anything?
This one doesn't require a match,
Right, okay, but I'm just. saying-
so we don't, and on the Spark grant, we did
I think
$5,000.
so.
I think is what Olivia.
I think we do the 4,080.
Scare me, Paul. I thought you were asking for $1 million man.
No.
I retract my second.
So if we do
She's asking.
put some money up, we'll probably get points. As far as, does it Is it helpful?
People like to see that you have funding. There was a section that says like. Yeah. Who, if any, is behind the project and what funds do you have? And that could be from other grants or it could be private. Or from the city and stuff like that. I'm not sure how many actual points it was on the application. But it is a section that we would report that the city of Langsberg gave us X amount.
I didn't bring that with me.
And in addition, from the Spark grant, we also added, including public Wi-Fi at the park and two other things. Oh, potentially a water bottle or water fountain with like the water bottle
The refill station,
That's a great idea.
and
because we thought that would give us some sustainability points.
some kind of, we need to look more into it, but like portable warming shelter for when the ice rink gets up. Because Paula saw that Lansing had some.
They're just like little sheds.
Yeah.
They just put them out there and it gives people a place to put their skates and stuff on and. So I think we threw a few of those in there. We're just kind of
Yeah.
tweaking it a little bit. What are you doing?
Straight on fire.
So how much are you thinking, I guess? That we might want to throw towards something like this to be helpful. I guess, so I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah, to forget $1 million, it seems like we want to throw some change, right? We're not doing it.
I mean, I don't see why you,
And you're not doing it if we don't get it, right?
right.
Yeah.
I mean, if we don't get the grant, you're not spending the money.
Yeah,
Right.
that's true.
So, and if we get the grant and, I mean,
$1 million would do a lot.
We have to have money. What? I just spent.
yep, sure did. But you can't use your ARPA funds on this one anyway. Nope.
So is that all you need from us on tonight, or you want, I mean,
We have to turn this in before we meet again.
So you need to know how much.
Unless you guys want us to work something up, we have a special meeting.
I mean, what do you thinking for dollar amount? I mean, you're the expert with us here with the grant stuff and
It really,
you guys, I mean,
it really said that, you know, it's not required, but
looks good, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that we're looking for.
Yep.
So how much is it gonna cost us to look good?
5, 10, 20.
$5,000?
Here, I was thinking like 50, but maybe I'm
50.
totally out of the.
I was thinking 25, 50 would be a much better, you know.
Okay.
We got the money, why not?
So where would we
We
take
get
this
it
at
out
the
of capital
general?
outlay. I mean, we have some money in there that we've been putting away.
I would think if we could take $50,000 and turn it into 100 or $1 million, something or whatever, then we could return on investment. I don't know.
All right,
Yeah, we
Yep.
have that allocated somewhere.
So we're gonna modify the motion.
Yeah,
Yeah, I still second.
so we gotta vote on this because we're gonna spend money, right? Or not, right?
This will have to be roll call.
see you in the morning,
Thanks.
Miller,
Yes.
Nichols.
Yes.
Craig,
Yes.
Easley. Yeah, Easley.
Yeah.
Run right out of here where we get the word for. Okay,
What's the biggest grant we've been awarded today?
I think the 1,285,000, whatever it was. I think that was probably the biggest one I got.
That's awesome.
All right, SEDP, investment. benefits.
Basically just information to share with you from the SCDP. Let you know what level we're at.
Which level we're at?
We're the second one, I think.
The partner
We used to
level.
only be 500 and now we're 2,500.
Oh, so we're down to executive level.
And so,
Yep. Because a lot of times they would invite us to like participate with certain campaigns and I said, can't, only 1,500, 1,000 or whatever. And so, we had it in the budget to go to 2,500, but I wanted you guys to make sure that you know they have educational events. And luncheons, and they do quarterly meetings, and but they do a really good job, and anytime I need anything, Justin is always right there. No, this isn't necessary, just letting you know.
Okay. All right, next item, MML loss control services.
Whenever they come in, they send us a report. They want us to show it to our city council, and then you guys have to either agree or disagree so that we can sign the letter and send it back. So.
What's workman's comp?
So the workman's comp, so it's our loss for workman's comp and general services or whatever you want to call it. Risk management, so they have programs we can watch, they have trainings we can do, our work comp, there was really no issue. It just looked like there's a couple of things that Dave got tweaked up on.
No officers injured last year,
Yeah.
so we're good.
No, I think we had some dog bites.
That was.
Oh,
that was
okay,
years ago.
okay. And so it just talks about the, you know, that they have to put all the cans have to be metal. Dave trying to go a little lighter and use the plastic ones, but. So,
So they come through and look at stuff and they.
Yep.
Okay.
and so, I mean, basically, they're not trying to get us in trouble, they're trying to keep us out of trouble. So they come in, they look at things and we try to listen to them.
So it's kind of like an audit and that's
Right,
Okay.
yeah.
maybe suggestions and that.
Did you adjust your tongue guard? Sorry.
Gotcha.
Okay.
You betcha. I think you said you were gonna just throw that grinder out.
Right out the door.
Yeah.
We got the hand grinder. I said we literally use that thing twice a year, maybe.
There was dust bunnies on it.
Yeah.
So I don't know, do I actually need you guys to take action on that? It's just.
Just a flag.
Yep,
Okay, all right, options for conducting early. Sorry, I'm trying to do this again.
do it.
Options for conducting early voting.
I make a motion that we fit it up to away from here.
County,
So, yeah,
as we discussed in the finance meeting earlier. Yeah.
I'll second that.
we're obligated to do it. Would keep our costs down more.
The downfall is the people here that vote early have to drive to the county, so it saves us financially significantly.
But and honestly, you know, we have those right now, we have to be here Saturday and Sunday, either 4 hours each day or 8 hours between the 2 days, whatever. And literally, I bet, don't have one person usually even coming.
Yeah.
Sometimes they'll just do it
Sometimes somebody comes
absentee,
and
right?
brings us snacks because they know we're here.
So they'll just vote by mail too, right? So if
You can still do absentee voting, or you can go over there and I guess sometime in,
Do it over.
I don't know if it's 2020, August of 24 or something, but this first vote, you can't do your absentee there. Which all of this is going to be very confusing for a little while for the voters and trying to get all that information.
February, we got one in the primary. That would be the first one.
Okay, so do we need to make a selection, and is the finance committee making the recommendation?
Yeah, based on the fact that we have to buy these extra items and manpower to do it, it makes sense.
Your number 3. Gail made that.
And that is the staff recommendation.
Huh?
I missed it. If you made the motion.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. If I need-
You did, you made a motion, he
Yeah.
seconded it.
Okay, sorry. I missed it. All right, any other discussion on that? All right, do we need to do a roll call?
I don't think so.
Okay,
So we're not spending
All in
money, so
favor?
we're good there.
all in favor?
Aye.
Say aye. All opposed, say aye. All right,
We will spend money.
And that's gonna authorize me to sign the agreement with the county.
All right. Any other item of business? All right, approval of bills.
I make a motion. Keep lights on.
A second.
Hey, do we have any discussion, any questions, anything? All right. Roll call.
Miller,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Craig,
Yes.
Kiesler. Yes, Kiesler.
Yes. All right. Committee reports. The word of what I have over there in the packet. Planning Commission meetings.
All right. So at the planning commission meeting, I haven't noticed before I got on, do I just go basically
Yeah.
read
just
everything
hi-
off?
hi-
Oh, you don't have to read.
You don't have to
it,
read,
just-
just highlights. I mean,
Okay. City of Perry is doing the master plan. They asked for input. We didn't have any. Grand River, nothing really happening there. We've already discussed it tonight. Planning and zone or consultation services, Preston Community is no longer doing it, but tonight was at the finance meeting that we discussed, right?
no, we discussed it here.
Okay, yeah, mixed up
Yep.
meetings, sorry. So we don't need to
Yep, no,
discuss
you're
that. Working on a property maintenance code. We've identified some high-level things that we thought will be helpful to be listed on the maintenance code, and at our next meeting, I think we're gonna explore that further and keep looking into.
So I would say if anybody has any ideas on property maintenance codes, they would like to see, let's get them all on the team. So they can bring them to the planning commission. Doesn't have to be strictly planning commission, that's where to go through.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think it's-
Anything else? Perfect, thank you. All right, police.
There is one vacancy, so we need to work on it.
Oh, that's right. And it has to be a city of Langsburg resident, if I
Yeah.
remember correctly.
Because we already have a couple that are.
Yeah.
One.
One on it.
I'm trying to think who's on there right now.
Mike, the first guy.
No, because you just
Right,
added
yeah.
somebody that wasn't.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
have two people that.
But
are
Mike-
not. Yeah,
But Mike's not, doesn't live in the city, right?
no, we have two that are not.
Okay, that's
Two
okay.
guys is Mike.
Yeah, so
he
the-
does.
The
Okay.
replacement or has to be a resident.
Yeah, because Dean is no longer a resident.
Correct.
Okay, police.
We didn't meet
We
tonight.
didn't meet, so, but I do got a brief thing here.
Same you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we did take 19 reports last month, nothing earth shattering. Domestic, PPO violation, somebody deciding to drive without a driver's license. We had 52 traffic stops. Of those 52, 27 traffic tickets were issued, 19 for speed. 25 traffic warnings, again, 16 for speed. City ordinance violations, one trash, one grass. We did have one resident that we actually received a ticket for not cutting her grass, and she actually paid the fine, which was $160. The new patrol car is here. It's in the garage, and I did have the graphics put on it. And this is what the car looks like. So at some point, we'll probably have the second car done for its graphics. The new body cameras are in. This is one of them here. We got the 4 body cameras. One nice thing about these cameras, they do have a continual battery life of 10 hours. We have it set up that once we push the button on it, and it starts recording, it actually goes back 30 seconds for video and audio.
Nice.
And then that's recorded, because sometimes if it hits the fan, we might not have the ability to hit the record right away. So that does that. We did attend training that was put on by the state police, reference to the outlaw motorcycle clubs that are in Michigan. And they're making a comeback, and for some reason, they are looking at setting up a chapter here in Shiawassee County. So we're looking at that. So that's the police one. So I didn't know if you wanted me to go right into the fire one.
Might as well.
Okay, so for the month of June, the ambulance had 54 runs, which was quite a few. 4 of those were actually mutual aid calls. Fire department for the month had 43. So there was 267 at the end of June for that. One thing I did want to show you is we're not always on fire calls, so when dispatch doesn't know what to do, they call the fire department.
What is that?
Oh, I'll tell you in a second.
I don't wanna know, I
No,
don't
you
think.
don't want to know.
Is it?
No, you don't want to know.
Ew.
So the construction site on I-69 westbound, because of the Peacock Bridge, has been very giving to the fire department because we run out there 3 to 6 times a week on accidents or whatever. This truck here was hauling pig heads, cow heads, intestines, hooves, legs, everything. So when it hit the brakes,
Oh,
you had a tidal wave that landed on the highway.
Oh, gross.
You know,
So what
those
they
garbage
do-
trucks, they have that soft top,
Mm.
that's what this truck.
Yeah.
Oh,
So what they do, they call the fire department to help
Nice.
them out. So in doing so, I reached out and called Dave. I said, Dave, I need your help
oh no.
because it stunk bad.
We needed the backhoe.
So we got the backhoe to push it into a pile. And then we used about 5,000 gallons of water to hose it down. And then we needed the road commission to come in with sand and a brush to get the rest of it out because it turned into a skating rink. Because of
oh, the
It
oil.
was
the
hot that
oils
day,
and the
too.
stuff and then it was cooking.
Oh.
So
How hot was it, Dave?
that was hot.
Oh,
Making grease.
disgusting.
So
Dave came back, I said, you want to get you a hamburger for lunch?
It was the bacon on it?
The smell is.
yeah, so yeah, we don't always deal with fires and car accidents, but when they don't know what to do, they call the fire department.
You had Levi right in the middle of it.
No, he wasn't there.
Wasn't he there? Ah,
But I had him on the house fire. I had him on the house fire. so-
Guess whose phone number is blocked from Dave's now?
Yeah.
So is that a total loss out there, Lawson's? For their house?
Yeah.
That sucks. They've lived there a long time.
Yeah.
Went to school, their boys.
All right, thank you. Finance meeting.
So we've talked about the audit, which we already talked about today, and the projects and the funding and the parking lot. The only thing that, and the election changes, I think the only thing that we didn't hit during council tonight was there is no clear title to that little area that used to have the pole in it. And so they're gonna
6 foot.
investigate. Huh?
The 6 foot there.
Right, they don't know who owns it. So,
Really?
yeah, so they're gonna investigate through the lawyer to figure out if we can. figure out-
Frontier says they don't own it,
Huh,
so
maybe we have to pave over it anyways, huh?
I think we probably will.
So
When we
they,
send it to Burley.
Huh, interesting.
they're gonna investigate it. And then we set that $1,000 aside for
Okay.
Hmm.
Thank you. Next is public library. Becca's in here. Anybody know anything about it? Okay.
Looks like they had quite a few kids there for the bee presentation, whatever that was. Or the birdhouse activity, 20 kids.
they're doing painting and stuff, and they got quite a few for that too as well. So they're doing a lot of activities.
Can you fit 65 kids in the library?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. So
No,
that's
they- I
something
think-
outside?
I think they did it in the pavilion.
Okay.
Good. That makes sense.
But I did it in shifts. There was different age groups. too.
Okay.
It wasn't all 65 at once. Sorry, I'm just watching.
Oh,
Facebook.
so
Very fine.
also they got new business that they're talking, the watercolor in the
Yes,
park.
yeah, they did. It looked like it was pretty successful
Looks like 200, 200 max. Huh,
because the friends covered the cost.
that was nice they did that.
All right, DDA. Meeting minutes.
We kind of went over what happened at the DDA.
Yeah, we kind of did, yes. I mean, the only other thing was months up here, they. Facade grant, they got issued a check because it was finished. All right, TPW.
Dave's got all kinds of good news. You want your minutes? Do you know what you talked about?
All right, we're still working on, drawing a letter up on getting bids for tree removal. We're trying to get set up, so we got one guy, one company. That'll give us a bid for either a day or so much an hour, or whatever, just so we can budget something and not have to jump through the loopholes of trying to get free bids every time we need to do some tree work. I applied for a consumer's energy grant for trees. We got awarded that, $3,000. So we got 15 trees coming sometime this fall. That'll be going in the subdivisions and one on the boulevard out by the cemetery. Edwards got done with the sign for Sleepy Hollow. That's up and installed now.
Looks good.
The 2023 street work project is about 90% completed. They're still supposed to be coming back and finishing up this section here by Woodhall that they didn't chip seal.
But that's not this contract, the one that I wrote the check for, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Well, you wrote check for was Mike and Sons. This was Barnum's that was supposed to be doing that. And I did talk to C2AE Marine and we discussed when they come back and do that, P&K is gonna paint it. And we discussed just not having them paint parking lots on the other side. Which we're gonna try and work on.
Yeah.
Councilmember Geisler expressed concern about the wasps, the mosquitoes. We have sprayed for mosquitoes, but of course, Mother Nature is not cooperating with us, so that we're well right now. As far as the wasps, I've talked to 2D guys. And they do not do wasps at all. They want yellow jackets and hermits.
So we have some things that are going, the amphitheaters, they seem to like the smell of it, I feel like, or something, and they're in the, around the outside. Last year, we did have a band person, for some reason, the vibration bothered them, and they it was towards the end of the season last year that we had the problem, but we seem to have had it a little earlier this year, and when we had Summerfest, these sand ones are boring into the ground. We have one up right up at the amphitheater at the top of the ridge, but now they seem to be going around, and they ended up moving it off that one court on that side because it was, yeah, and they only could use one court because of it.
They're called sand wasps. They're not real big, and they don't nest. They just burrow, lay their eggs and leave.
So it can be like all over the place up there.
Is there something that we put on there that's not gonna harm animals or kids or?
I have got a call into my spray to Clark to see if they have any suggestions. I mean, if anybody would know, these guys would get a mosquito spray from us, so.
Gail, are you talking about the at the amphitheater, like in the seating, the ground wasp, right, where people are like sitting on the bees?
Yeah.
Just want to make sure that was.
Well, there was two, there's some in the ground there. There was also in the volleyball court.
Sure. Well, then we mentioned that, so I just want to make, because I saw people like straying. away
Yeah,
from that,
almost
right?
every time over there, someone poked it, you realize you got them going into the ground up there. Yep, I do, I don't know. So it's kind of towards the top right now, but. But then
they're
there's.
also on the.
People getting stung by them. Or some nuisance?
The ones.
So I think somebody did, down at the park, I think somebody did.
I wonder if maybe, hopefully maybe we get one of these grants and we can maybe put some seating down there, like some concrete. You like the step looking seating for them to sit down, don't have to worry about the critters coming out of the ground or going in the ground or.
Yeah.
An idea,
And Julius?
yep.
How do they vote? How do they vote?
And then,
Sorry. All right.
I think
Anything
he was-
else?
I think he was.
and then at the end
Okay,
of that,
sorry.
after the meeting. We had a truck that had some issues and it went out the oil tank to get looked at. It wouldn't go into fire. Well, a cable got a hole rubbed in it, got water in there, rusted the linkage up. And it was gonna be a $500 fix. This is a truck that was already budgeted to be replaced in this budget. So, and then when it was underneath it, they found a hole in the floorboard that's hanging out literally by a sheet of metal about the size of this water can. And so he pulled it out. So
Don't you have any old road signs we can tack down on there?
there's nothing there to tag it to.
So
So
we
we-
already have something in place. don't
So we pulled it out of service, we stripped it down. I'm looking for your guys' suggestions. Mine is just to take it to the scrapyard. I would not feel comfortable selling it. It is not safe to be on the road.
Well, you're selling as is, or, I mean, what can we get out from scrap?
You're probably gonna get more out of it as scrap than it would sell. It's up to you guys. I'm just telling you, I would not feel confident.
What about doing sealed
If it
bid
was-
on that for parts truck?
If it was my car, it would go scrap. I would not even take a chance of somebody.
But what are you talking about, difference in cost of selling it or scrapping?
He doesn't know.
Don't know. if
Yeah, I know the
Yeah,
repair was gonna cost me $1,000
Yeah.
and I would not expect to get that out of it if it went did.
Okay. Scrap it, is my opinion.
I'll stop and talk.
And we are currently in the process because the budget kicked over, so I am looking for a replacement right now. So. I was already looking, it's just trying to make it look a little harder.
You get a 2008 this time? or?
Actually, I'm looking at a 2011 that Michigan State's got right now.
Look miles on it, 48,000 miles on it, with a plow and everything.
Wow.
And they'll have a new battery on it too, once he gets the test drive, maybe. Not a bad looking truck.
And that was all I had.
Okay. Anything else? Any additional things? All right.
Go home, make dinner now.
All right,